She doesn't care about your abs. I feel like this is sort of off topic and out of character for me, but the reality is that because I'm a strength coach and I lift weights and I teach other people how to lift weights, the issue of body image comes up surprisingly often. And so I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about. Same thing with like eating disorders. I really have no interest at all in eating disorders. I'm not a psychologist. I don't practice psychology. I hate doing nutrition. I actually hate talking about nutrition, but everyone wants to talk about nutrition. And yet the reality of the situation is if you're a coach, and this is, just the reality of what we do, you're going to have athletes who have an eating disorder sometimes. It's happened to me. I had a female athlete who was exceptional. She's like, now we're talking a D1 athlete who probably had the potential to go to the Olympics, and she developed an eating disorder, and that kind of sabotaged all of her athletic aspirations, which is unfortunate. The good news, if this matters to anyone who is concerned, is that she overcame it, and now she's happy, and she's married and has kids and has a totally normal life. But there was a dark spell there, right? And so the same thing is true, though. I mean, if you know anything about eating disorders, oftentimes this is tied back into body image. So we're going to talk about body image, and I'm going to talk to you about why she doesn't care about your abs, because it seems to me that a lot of guys are really concerned with this idea that they have to have abs. And I've heard people like Ashley Jones, Vern Gambetta. I had a whole list actually at one point. I actually made a list of the number of coaches I've heard comment that athletes have sabotaged their performance due to the fact that they are afraid to get fat and they don't want to eat. So, Ashley Jones, famous rugby coach, I remember him talking about this, that he has seen athletes sabotage their careers because they weren't eating enough. I remember Vern Gambetta making a post about this on Facebook, talking about athletes sabotaging their careers because they didn't eat enough. Now, I consider myself to be very lucky that I came from hockey. Why is that? Why is that lucky? Well, that's lucky because in hockey, no one knows if you're fat or skinny because we wear so much equipment. So no one knows if you have abs. You have all these layers on you. No one has any idea. But, in certain sports, basketball, soccer, baseball, you can tell if somebody's fat. Football is another special sport because being fat is good. Like, you've never heard an offensive lineman be like, I'm worried about my abs. No, you haven't. It's rewarded. So, there are certain sports that seem to avoid this. I have to say that even in wrestling, because I wrestled growing up, we were very concerned with weight class. And so, you would do stupid things like, I've told people this before, eating nothing but tuna and water to make weight. That's a stupid thing to do. But you're only doing that for a very short window. This isn't like you did that for 6 months. You did that for like a week leading up to weigh-ins or something, right? And I think the benefit to me playing multiple sports was that I never got focused on the weight, because it was like, well, I made weight for wrestling, but now I need to put weight back on for hockey. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the one sport almost buffers the other, if you will. Anyways, the point being here, okay, we're entirely too focused on body image. A lot of athletes are very focused on body image. You're worried about your abs, and you should be worried about your performance. That's where you should be paying attention to. I've mentioned this before. There's a video out there. It's Pat Sherwood talking about the idiot suit, where he talks about how his performance is best when he's a little heavier than he likes to be. So the idiot suit is the point where he likes how he looks in the mirror, right? He can see all the definition in his abs and stuff. That's the idiot suit. Because at the point where he likes how he looks, his performance goes to shit. So his performance is better with him carrying a little extra weight, okay? And I believe the same is true for a lot of athletes. Some of us have lower body fat set points than others, so this will vary from person to person. I know lots of guys love to claim, oh, I have bad genetics. And I guess I have bad genetics too, because if I had good genetics, I'd be playing in the NHL or the NFL or the NBA or something, right? But actually, I will argue that I have great genetics. I had visible abs at the age of like 12, like probably even before that, but like definitely by the time I was in junior high, I had visible abs. So my body just, I don't need to carry a lot of body fat. It doesn't, and in fact, actually, it's not even that I don't need to carry a lot of body fat. I don't carry it in my abs. So I had a friend, he's passed, committed suicide, anyways. And it was crazy. He would have striated glutes. He was a bodybuilder. He would have striated glutes, and his abs still weren't visible. That's just how his body carried fat. He lost fat off of his glutes before he lost it anywhere else. So he would have striated glutes and still didn't have six-pack abs. Meanwhile, I have six-pack abs, and I mean, I think I've only had striated glutes at one point in my life, and that's when I cut all the way down to 135 to fight. And that was a very stupid thing because I even lost the fat pads on my feet, which was entirely too lean. That was a weight class that I did not belong in at that point in my life. Outside of that, like, yeah, my abs are visible, and I probably will never even get close to having, I don't even have quad separation, okay? My legs don't have that kind of body fat distribution. I don't have quad separation, so my abs are the first thing to come in. It's just how my body distributes fat, and you may be different. Maybe you have quad separation. Maybe you even have striated glutes and you still can't see your abs, right? This is just genetics or something. I don't know. But the point being that we all distribute our body fat differently. So for some guys, they will have to get insanely lean for them to be able to see their abs. They don't have deep separations between their abs either, so they'll have to get really lean to see them. And when you get to that point, it's going to negatively impact your performance. I'll tell you right now, one of the things I keep a close eye on is my LH, luteinizing hormone. I watch my LH and my FSH. I watch that more closely than I watch my testosterone level. I tell people all the time, if you start seeing your LH drop, if you see your FSH drop, this is a sign that you are either under eating or you are overtraining. To me personally, like this is through, I don't know, 20 years worth of blood work and, looking at athletes and looking at their blood work. If you see LH and FSH drop, you are either under eating or you are overtraining. Okay? So, chasing this paucity of body fat, this leanness, right, can very quickly sabotage your performance. And I'm going to continue on this now when I come back to the part where I said in the beginning about she doesn't care about your abs. I can tell you, here's a funny story. One of my friends contacted me and told me that he Googled dude with abs and my picture popped up in the images selection. And I was like, what? And so I typed it in, and sure enough, yeah, dude with abs popped up with a picture of me. I can't remember what year this was. I want to say it was like 2008 or something like that. I'm sure Google image results have gotten better, and you're not going to see me anymore. I hope not. But the point being, okay, as a, quote, dude with abs, all right, I assure you, none of the women that I've ever been involved with ever cared about my abs, ever. Not a single one. Couldn't care less. And in terms of your physique, like, women don't care nearly as much as you think they do. I think it was like Greg Valentino or something like that who made the comment, nobody wants to fuck Jay Cutler. Oh, what a great comment. That comment is completely underrated. Listen, guys are out there and you're trying to look like Tom Platz. You're trying to look like fucking Arnold. No woman wants to fuck Arnold, okay? Or at least not because of his appearance. How about that, okay? Many women will be attracted to the money and power, but his appearance, no, okay? If you showed a picture of Arnold to your girlfriend or your wife and you said, do you think this is attractive? They will tell you no. If you show a picture of Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman to your wife or girlfriend and say, do you think this is attractive? They will say no. You think that's good. This is like getting abs. Every guy thinks, oh, if I get abs, girls will like me. And then instead it's just a bunch of dudes messaging you. Dude, your abs, they're amazing. How do I get abs like that? Or you get guys hitting on you, which I For some odd reason, I get a lot of that, and I'm not entirely sure why, actually. You would, well, anyways, the point being, abs attract other guys. They don't attract women, okay? And I think it's interesting to consider something here, okay? In terms of your muscularity, women really don't care. You know what women think is attractive? Brad Pitt in Fight Club. You could look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club if all you did was run and do a whole bunch of bodyweight PT and smoke cigarettes. That's how you turn into Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Lots of smoking, lots of cardio, lots of bodyweight PT. You would look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Even Brad Pitt in, gosh, what was it? He plays Achilles. I can't remember the name of the movie. Anyways, he plays Achilles in some movie, and he's a little more muscular in that one. Is it Troy? Helen of Troy? I don't know. I mean, I know the stories. I don't know the names of the movies. It's probably Troy. Anyways, you know, Brad Pitt and Troy, he's a little more muscular, but he's not bodybuilder big. Like, he's not Flex Lewis big. He's not Chris Bumstead big. Like, he's just a little more muscular. So, like, you could easily achieve that. Like, that's a very achievable physique. Like, you don't need anabolic steroids. You don't need a bodybuilding program to look like that. Even if you went with someone as extreme as Chris Hemsworth. Oh, Chris Hemsworth and Thor, which I haven't seen, but I'm aware that everyone thinks that this is some kind of ideal physique, right? And it's like, yeah, even if women find that attractive, that is not a bodybuilder physique. It isn't. Chris Hemsworth as Thor could not step onto a bodybuilding stage. Not even natural bodybuilding. He's not big enough and he's not lean enough. Nope. Women don't care about your abs. No matter how shredded lean I've ever been, no matter how great my abs look on Instagram, women don't care. They don't. You're chasing some ideal because it's important to you. Body image is important to you. It's not important to anyone else. Nobody fucking cares. Here's a complete list of all the people that care about your abs. Some random stranger on the internet who has to make a comment. That's it. Like, outside of that, like, my friends don't care if I have abs or not. My wife doesn't care if I have abs or not. None of the girls that I ever dated cared if I had abs or not. No one cares if I have abs or not. Nobody cares. I don't even care. That's actually, like, it's not important to me. I would much rather be able to clean and jerk 200 kilos than to have six-pack abs, because there's no medal for having six-pack abs. You don't win an Olympic gold medal for that. Bodybuilding is not an Olympic sport, even though they have the Olympia, which is kind of funny when you think about just the names. Not that I'm making fun of bodybuilding. I'm not making fun of bodybuilding. It's its own thing. But I am saying that bodybuilding isn't an Olympic sport. You can't win a gold medal at the Olympics for bodybuilding. But you can if you put 225 kilos over your head. Yes, you can. You could be Lasha, and you could snatch more weight than anyone's ever lifted off the ground. I mean, it's incredible. It's just, the man is doing things that have never been done. And does anyone care if Lasha has abs? No, they don't. And the same thing goes, like, if you play offensive line in the NFL, do you think anyone cares if they have abs? No, they don't. No one cares. Have Thor Bjornsson, world's strongest man. Like, when you win the world's strongest man, whether you are Eddie Hall or, you know, whoever wins, whenever, when Brian Shaw, no one cares if they have abs. You're the strongest man in the whole fucking world. No one cares. So, you know, my only reason for sharing all this is that I'm trying to express to you that your obsession with your body image is personal. It's your concern with your body image. No one else is looking at you and judging you nearly as much as you think they are. Now, don't get me wrong. You will, or you won't. If you're public like I am and you share things and you have an Instagram and stuff, you will get some random stranger who messages you. Yes, a grown man will message you to tell you, you're not aesthetic, bro. Your obliques are too big. Okay. Thanks. Like, I don't know what to say to that person. You know, I had someone message me, your traps are too big and your obliques are too big. You're not aesthetic. And I'm like, that's nice. I don't even know what aesthetic we're judging by here, but my obliques and my traps are too big. Okay. Will it help me clean and jerk 140 kilos? That matters. What doesn't matter, though, is your girlfriend, your wife, the girls that you're interested in, they don't really care if you have abs or not. In fact, I'll point something out to you. You're out on a date with a girl, right? You're wearing clothes. By the time that you are in some circumstance where the two of you are taking off those clothes, she has already made the decision to sleep with you. So when you take your shirt off and she sees that, oh, he's normal and doesn't have six-pack abs, has a girl ever said to you, oh, never mind, I changed my mind, put your shirt back on, you don't have abs? No, that's never happened, has it? And it's not going to happen. So, and I'm not telling you just be as big as possible, okay? You do not need to be morbidly obese. That's not going to help you. But being normal is being normal, and if you are normal body weight, and you don't have visible abs, that is not going to work against you. Now, being morbidly obese may work against you in the dating game. If you are morbidly obese, but you're also 6'8", then you can just tell people that you play offensive line. Just tell them. Just be like, yeah, I'm fourth string offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the panties drop. All right, it's terrible that I laugh at my own joke, but that's a good joke. Fourth line. I'm fourth string offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm gonna have to use that sometime. I'm the fifth string quarterback behind Tom Brady for the Bucks. Anyways, the point being here, okay, that this whole body image thing is really destructive. Like, there are too many guys who are way too concerned about, like, I don't want to get fat. I got news for you here. Let's go with Greg Penora. Greg Penora shared some crazy thing where, like, you put a Klondike bar and all this ice cream and shit like that into a blender, blend it up and drink it. And Greg made this comment, and it's like, people are like, well, won't I get fat if I eat that? And he's like, no. He's like, people who lift weights don't get fat from eating that. And I tend to agree. If you are training really fucking hard, okay, and you're eating in a very generous caloric surplus even, you are not going to suddenly wake up tomorrow and be morbidly obese. It's not going to happen. You are not going to wake up morbidly obese. Will you gain a little body fat? Sure you will. Isn't that what bulking is all about? Like, don't we all gain body fat when we bulk? So, and I made a post about this on IG. So if you're not following me on IG, follow me on IG. I tried doing like a lean bulk thing, and I tried dialing everything in. And I will tell you right now, don't fucking waste your time. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of effort for very minimal gain. Okay, and the other thing I've pointed out to people since after having posted that is that once I stopped force feeding myself, I very quickly started losing weight. So how much of that was just glycogen and water? I mean, I was really hammering the carbs hard. I was pushing carbs all the time, trying to like just keep the calories coming in. Eating fucking rice cakes. I hate rice cakes. It's like eating cardboard. Ugh. I'm eating with this shit because I'm just trying to force the calories down, right? So finally I get to this point, and I'm like, man, I put all this work in. This is what I netted. It's not very impressive for that many weeks of work. And then as soon as I stopped eating like that and stopped forcing more food down and just went back to a normal intake of about like 3,500 to 3,800 calories a day, I immediately started losing weight. And I'm sure it's just with glycogen and water. It's not like I think I'm losing muscle. Like, that's stupid. But the point being that, like, you should go ahead and let yourself gain fat when you bulk, because trying to gain without gaining fat takes a ton of effort. It's very inefficient. It's a waste of your time. It's much easier just to gain the fat so that you gain the muscle and then cut afterwards. It's way more effective. No wonder people bulk and cut. It's way more effective than you trying to lean bulk. Lean bulking is a very inefficient process. And so, lesson learned. I used myself as an example, and myself as the experiment, and I'm telling you, don't waste your time with it. It's super fucking inefficient. Although my lifts did go up, which matters to me much more than whether or not my weight went up. So, regardless of me changing weight classes, which I doubt that's going to happen, because if I wanted to be competitive in weightlifting, I would need to gain about 30 kilos. I'm still 30 kilos too light for my height. But the reality is that, as I mentioned, if you eat this Klondike bar mixture thing, you aren't going to wake up morbidly obese tomorrow because you're training, you're lifting weights. You're probably going to gain more muscle, okay? The point being here, right, that people are overly obsessed and concerned with their aesthetics or their physique or being lean. And this is actually sabotaging your progress. This is sabotaging your ability to build muscle because you're under eating. And the big takeaway here is that women don't care. They don't care. Whether or not you have six-pack abs, they don't fucking care. And I will tell you something. Alexander Bromley said this. It was one of the smartest things I've ever heard. He was absolutely correct. And I am not going to quote it perfectly. But he basically, the takeaway, this is my closest attempt to quote him. But it was like, the world steps to you differently when you're big. Yeah, it's true. I hang out with my friends who are like, well, okay, so like I'm, like, I like to say I'm 5'10", but let's be honest with ourselves, you have to round down, so I'm probably more realistically like 5'9", but I'm 5'10". Regardless, the fact is, the guys I'm hanging out with are like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". Like, one of my best friends was 6'9". People treat them differently than they treat me, okay? At 5'9", I'm not unusually short. I'm just normal height. But when I'm hanging out with my friend Mike, who's 6'8" and 325 pounds, people act very differently. The world steps to you differently when you're big. People will automatically respect him. People don't fuck with him. Like, he doesn't have problems with people. He can go out to bars and restaurants and no one's ever going to pick a fight with him. Doesn't happen. You can't say the same for me. Okay? No one tries to mug. Like, I've been mugged many times in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a wonderful town. I still love Pittsburgh. I could walk through the Hill District, if you know Pittsburgh. I could walk through the Hill District with Mike at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I guarantee he would not get mugged. He looks intimidating the moment you see the guy. He's 6'8", he's 325 pounds, and he's built as wide as he is tall. Like, he actually turns to get through doors and shit. When he walks through my house, he has to duck so he doesn't bang his head off the fucking bulkheads or the light fixtures. This is an enormous person. Now, you can't change your height, but I will tell you right now, the world treats you differently when you are big. Okay, so being the skinny guy with abs, no one fucking cares. No one cares. You care. You care. But no one else cares. Be big. But the bigger point that I'm trying to make here is, don't sabotage your athletic performance. So if that means carrying a few extra pounds and being a little softer and a little smoother, as if, oh, I can only have a 4-pack or I only have a 2-pack, and like somehow that's a failure. You're still fucking leaner than 99% of the population. But yes, having a 2-pack or a 4-pack is probably superior to you having a 6-pack and being too lean, and it will impact your performance. So, long story there, right? But I wanted to really hammer this home because I hope that there's something to take away from this where you realize what I'm saying here. Women aren't going to care about your abs. I know that there are lots of guys who think that they're going to get abs and they're going to get girls. It's not going to happen. They're much more concerned about, like, in fact, actually, we know this. They've done tons of studies on this. Women care about things like stability, which often means your income. Women care. Do you have a job? You do. It's a good job. It's a stable job. You have a 40-hour work week. This puts you ahead of most men, especially today. For you younger guys out there, you have an actual real job, like a real career. Like, you have a salary. Even if your salary is a normal salary, the very fact that you have a stable job with benefits, you have health insurance, this puts you ahead of so many other men. You have a house, you have a mortgage, you have a car, you have your own car, you make car payments. This immediately puts you ahead of other men. Like, I don't think guys appreciate how unimportant your physique is. She will leave you for a guy who has a Bentley. Why? Because he's financially stable. You're the fucking loser boyfriend who sits on the couch playing video games all day, goes to the gym for an hour, comes home and eats all her food. You don't have a job? That's going to matter to her way more than whether or not you have abs. You know, it's like Dan John made this comment. If you have six-pack abs, God bless you. But if you're in your 30s and you still live in your mom's basement, you need to start reevaluating your priorities, okay? That's the truth. So I'm telling you right now, this pursuit of abs I don't think it's mentally healthy. I really don't. I think it's a problem. And I think that too many people are wrapped up in trying to look like Instagram models, and that isn't going to make your life better. So that's it. That's what I got for you guys. She doesn't care about your abs, and actually, no one does.